What's that? Discoveries. Scope, create new things, new requirements. What else causes you to change your plan? Say that again. Resources. Oh, that's my favorite. It's like the chair game, right? I'm moving this person from here to there, from here to there. Do you think these are exceptions? Only a few projects have these go on. No, it's the rule. And so you better have a plan for how you're going to respond to change, because that is the rule. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. We no longer want the wall between business and IT, where we just throw over status reports, % done, and the business says, well, can you do more requirements for less money? And then we're like, another status report, no, this is really not getting done. And they're like, can I double my requirements now? You know, when I just cut the budget. That's all negotiation. We need the customer to come in the room and become part of our project. So those are our key value statements. To give you the big picture of Agile, so you can really understand it, I am going to use our famous cake analogy. In software development right now, the way we work is that we have the database team build the foundation of the cake. You guys all with me? That's like layer one. We have our business developers, our back-end code, the logic, the business layer developers build the business logic. Around, down there with the data people, there could be integration developers, connecting to different systems. So then these folks over here develop our business logic. Then we have our UI, right? Our user interface logic, and there's another team that does that. And then we have the final team that comes in and tests the entire cake when it's done, after it's been baked, right? And they'll say what they like about it and what they don't. Do you guys kind of see where I'm going with this? Agile says, that seems really nice and really organized. Yeah, you're going layer by layer. It probably looks really cool and efficient. But guess what? The customer who's waiting says they're waiting for too long. They would like to taste the cake now. And you're saying, but it's not ready yet. I'm only in layer 2. They're saying, well, you're going to have to change the way you start baking that cake. I want you to bake one slice at a time. And you're like, what do you mean one slice? Yeah. I want you to get the user interface developer, the tester, the business logic developer, the back-end database guy, and the business user tester to all be in one team and focus on getting one slice that I can taste now, as soon as possible. Do you guys kind of understand this? So that's what we mean by a cross-functional team, a whole bunch of roles coming together. That's kind of the overview of Agile, because I think now what we're going to go into is a little bit more about the details of how you'll have to shift now. This is just a big picture telling you the PMBOK is what you need to do in project management. Agile gives you how to apply it to software development or iterative development in general. All right? It's a guide. The one above is a guide. This one is a very detailed, here's what you do. Here's the stand-up meeting. It's 15 minutes. It's a very prescriptive guide. And so I think we've already talked about this. This is how they relate and differ. The one thing that I do want to mention, how many of you are familiar with waterfall? All right, most companies that have been doing a lot of PMBOK for years have been using waterfall. And unfortunately, a lot of people have now assumed that PMBOK dictates waterfall for software development. And so anytime I talk about Agile versus waterfall, people think I'm talking about Agile versus PMBOK. PMBOK was the guide, and it's not even made for software development. They never told you to use waterfall. You get your choice of methodology. And so, yes, I'll say clearly, Agile is an alternative to waterfall development. Agile is iterative, waterfall is sequential. Okay? Waterfall divides all the work in phases, where very specific silos of people work and then hand off work to the next team. Agile says no phases. All this little pieces of work will have to be done in one iteration. And so all these people got to talk to each other now. No more silos of communication. Make sense to you guys? So I just want you to be clear about this. PMBOK does not equal waterfall. PMBOK doesn't even know about waterfall. PMBOK is a project management methodology that is used for construction, building, a whole bunch of other things. So the skills you need to transform is number one, servant leadership. Servant leadership means that you need to learn how to empower teams. You need to learn how to coach them. You need to learn how to get rid of control. You need to learn how to coach other people and help them grow. It's going to be more about them and less about you. Effective group facilitation skills. You're going to be facilitating a lot. And facilitating means bringing people together, because now we talked about these cross-functional teams and getting them to a goal. You are going to need to know how to have your whole team collaborate with the customer. The old way of you become the liaison to the customer, oh, you just talk to the sponsor team, I'll let you know what the sponsor said. That's not the way we do it in Agile. The customer is part of our team. And so you're going to have to facilitate that collaboration and feel comfortable with that. Iterative software development. If you've never done iterative development, you're going to have to learn a little bit about iterative development. And I know you're saying, I'm a project manager. All I need to know about is project management principles. I'll have my developers and my architects and my BAs learn about their own principles. What I'll tell you is not so fast. If you want to be successful at this, you will need to know just enough about requirements gathering, architecture, development, and testing. You will be a much more effective project manager if you have that knowledge. Only focusing on only learning project management and thinking that's it, it's not the case anymore. Why? Because you now have become a leader to all these people. You have a cross-functional team working together, you are their leader. If something's going wrong in your project, and this was a wonderful example that I just had at a recent company, requirements were terrible. Terrible. Project manager A, who was on the project, didn't even see it, because the BA thought everything was fine. Nobody was complaining, until another project manager was put on that project and had background on requirement and said, where's the full list? Where's the details? These are epics, these are very high level. Is this what we're planning on? Is this how we're executing? And the BA said, yeah, this is what I have. And he had to sit down and coach her and get her some help. So if you don't even know enough to recognize that you've got bad requirements on your hand, that the tester's not actually doing their job, that your architect is sitting back and not architecting, if you don't know enough about what they should be doing, you're not going to be as effective, right? That's why I'm saying just enough about all these things. And then of course, thinking Agile, not just doing Agile. The most popular thing that teams do to move Agile is they start learning all these specific meetings. Oh, if we can just have a planning meeting and a daily stand-up, and we can have that demo, then we have become Agile. Oh, and let's get the backlog together, which is just put all the list of work in one place. You are doing Agile, you are not thinking Agile, and you have not become Agile. Agile is a way of thinking. It is not just these, you're doing what we just talked about. You're going to the management and the controls and the meetings again, and you're focusing less on the people and the collaboration. You will end up with teams that look like they're doing Agile, but you'll be like, something feels wrong here. Like, where's that spirit? Like, why are people not communicating? Why is there like that big trust and that big woo-ha-ha motivation? Where's all that at? Well, you haven't focused on it. You've just been checking off all the Agile practices and making sure you're doing them one at a time. Go ahead, Kelly.
So what projects do you use that could be using Agile? We wrestled with this at Mutual of Omaha. You've heard some of the standard things like, well, a project that has a lot of uncertainty. Well, what does that mean? For us, it was new technology, new software, new hardware. In one case, it was a business project, business group, financial group, that had never done a technical project. They didn't know what a project charter was, didn't know how to run a project. What other? Teams. If you have teams that are new, maybe a new manager or maybe a whole new team put together, so there's a lot of uncertainty. You don't know each other, you don't know the technology, you don't know any project management methodology to speak of. Those are good candidates for Agile, as well as core team members. If you look at the manifesto and some of the principles, they say try to have a smaller team, 6 to 8. What you don't want is 500. Because you'll have to meet every day for 15 minutes. Kind of hard to go around and ask everybody, how you doing on this story, this requirement? Do you have any impediments when you have a huge team? Not to say you can't use Agile or Scrum for large teams. You just break them up into smaller teams, and we can get into that later. That's called Scrum of Scrums, and we've done that as well. But typically you want a small core team.